pleased to see you all, but I'm sure you weren't expecting to see me. I usually do cage fighting on Wednesdays. I'm actually here because my son couldn't make it, and I didn't want to let Mark down. I've seen my son's act 3 times. It looks easy to me, so I thought I'd give it a go. I've got a lot of time on my hands since the Samaritans asked me to leave. Anyway, I need to tell you about myself. My name's Sally. Thank you. I've been married to Roger for 28 years. Seems longer. Now, some of you will know, when you've been with the same person for a while, things can get a little stale in the sex department, can't they? But I was still quite upset when Roger said to me recently, "You're so predictable. Why don't you ever surprise me? Dress up or something." So the next day, when he got home from work, I did surprise him. I was wearing his mother's clothes. He wasn't laughing. I always thought he wanted me to be more like her, you see, but it didn't go down well. I think it was too soon after the funeral. Now, if I'd known Roger had a heart condition, I probably wouldn't have given up on that first aid course. But the ambulance men were amazing. I take my hat off to them. It was Roger's mother's hat, obviously. Some of you might think that was a bit unkind, but Roger's been doing a number of things recently that really irritate me, like waking up. I had a surprise myself a few days later. I was in the supermarket and I needed the loo. And you know what? They've got a condom machine in the ladies at Tesco. I know you're surprised. You thought I shopped at Waitrose, didn't you? My son, Johnny, he likes to talk about sex on stage, which is a bit strange because he was a bit of a late starter. He had terrible acne when he was a teenager, and I think it put the girls off. Eventually we took him to our doctor, who prescribed these fantastic tablets, and they cleared Johnny's skin up just in time for him to go to Magaluf with his friends after the A-levels, and I gather there he made up for lost time. But then he had to visit another doctor when he got back. I was a late starter too. I was 20. That's because I wanted the first one to be special, and he was. He had special requirements. He could only become aroused if we made love outside, and I didn't mind that. I'm quite broad-minded, but we were going out in February. The one after that liked to cover me in baby oil while watching videos of Only Fools and Horses. I was fine with that too, until he asked me to dress up as Grandad. My next boyfriend was a masochist, and he begged me to hurt him, so I slept with his best friend. He said that wasn't what he meant. So I had to think of something else. I waited till he'd videoed the whole of the Japanese Grand Prix, and then, just as he sat down to watch it, I told him who'd won. I think another reason I didn't have sex when I was a teenager is because my mother said to me, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach, and I'm not very good in the kitchen. But eventually I found out if you go down about 6 inches, it's a lot quicker, more effective, and you don't have to stand up for so long. Another thing my mum used to say, if she saw an ugly person walking down the road was, well, he can't help what he looks like, but he could stay indoors. She said that when she first saw Roger. But I wasn't put off. Within weeks of our meeting, we'd moved in together and we were doing the things that married people do, having sex when only one person wants it, not having sex when the other person doesn't want it, and lying together silently, side by side in the darkness after sex that neither of us wanted, but both of us thought the other one did. I must admit, I can't remember the last time that Roger and I did it. It was so boring. I slept the whole way through. No, that's not true. I woke up just in time for the beginning of the Bake Off final. Because you've got to see that live, haven't you? I'd rather read a good book than have bad sex. Though I can do both at once. That's because I've got a Kindle. Now, and so could you. Now, I need to go back to my sunset. He likes to talk about the BJ on stage, and when I first heard that, I was expecting some material about Boris Johnson. But I was wrong, and I'm not too keen on the BJ. But Roger is, so I will oblige occasionally, because I find afterwards he's much more willing to clean the oven. Little tip for the ladies there. My friend Angela, she's divorced sadly. She hasn't got anyone to clean her oven. But she has found, since becoming single, the best way to get her jobs done is to go out with someone who's in the trade. So in the last 6 months she's had a whole house rewired while she was dating an electrician, had her brickwork repointed when she was going out with a builder, and at the moment she's being serviced, no, her car's being serviced because her present partner's a mechanic. She did slip up though when she slept with a carpenter. He left without even putting up a shelf, but he had filled in a few holes before he left. She brought one of her boyfriends home to meet her children. The first thing her daughter said to him was, "Oh, you're going to be my new daddy," which was a bit awkward because Emily's 22 and Dean can't be more than 35, so I gather there was a stunned silence, and then Simon, her son, came in with, "Well, if you are going to be my new daddy, you're going to have to sleep with Tanya from the coffee shop and then blow all your redundancy money on a Harley Davidson." She showed me a photograph of part of one of her boyfriends. Do you know what I'm talking about? Now, I think it was Dean, but it was too close for me to tell. Didn't make me want to see the rest of him. Now, you can call me old-fashioned, but when I was a girl, the man waved his willy at you. He was called a flasher, and you got the police involved. And another thing that's changed is how quickly men expect you to sleep with them. Now, Angela's told me it's as soon as on the 3rd date. Now, when I was a girl, the furthest I'd go on a 3rd date is let a boy try and unhook my bra. And if he did succeed, it was generally a disappointment to both of us. Thank you. Now, when I eventually got a man back to my flat, I liked to have music in the background on a cassette player. Most of you won't remember those. But once when I was quite drunk, I pressed record instead of play. Now, there wasn't a problem at the time, but a few weeks later when I was entertaining again, I did remember to press play. And my boyfriend and I found ourselves listening to me shouting detailed instructions to another man. I told my boyfriend I was encouraging the plumber in his efforts to unblock my drain. Now, as I get older, I find making decisions harder. Each day I have to decide, What shall I wear? What shall I cook for dinner tonight? Which of Roger's friends shall I sleep with? You're right, that's a joke. He hasn't got any friends. I've got a lovely group of friends. When we were younger, we used to liken ourselves to girls in Sex and the City, but nowadays it's more like celibacy in the suburbs. I have to say, I do my best not to overstimulate Roger, and to that end I only ever serve decaffeinated coffee in the evenings as a precaution. But if I really want to dampen his ardour, I replace his Viagra with laxatives. And now I think I need to go because I think Roger's finished cleaning the oven. Thank you very much. I've been Sally. Thank you.